3, 2, 1, action. Hello and welcome to the third episode of Tip Your Caddy. I am your co-host, Dougie Buckets. This is KON, and we're here, I don't know, what's the date today? January 5th, and we've done it. We've got 2 interviews in the bag, ready to be unleashed onto the YouTube scene. KON, how'd you feel that they went, buddy?
What's up, Dougie? I was going to ask you that. I was going to kick it off asking you that question. How are you doing today, all right?
No, I'm good. I mean, got the gym in, about to go hit a bucket of balls. I got my picks ready to go for the tournament that's happening this weekend. Things are going good. Things are going real good on the Tip Your Caddy scene.
I like that, man. Yeah, you've had
I've had the bug.
You've had the bug. I'm still waiting for my bug to kick in. Haven't golfed in a little while. But yeah, we had it was good, man. We finally took a little while after the intro to get a couple of guests on the show. Hopefully some people will find value in this.
Dude, I think people are going to find a lot of value in this. Like, it kind of shocked me, some of the conversations we had with these two, and I'll get into that. The first guest we had was our good buddy, Richie. He's a transportation specialist and our really good buddy, and my man, that guy is funny. I would watch this interview all the way through if I were you. This guy says some funny stuff, but he also drives home our point, which is take care of the people, taking care of you. I thought it was a great interview. How'd you feel it went?
Yeah, I think it went well. And I feel like I'm talking to the camera, right? So hopefully, people understand that, we already went over what we're trying to do, what the main purpose of the podcast is. And hopefully people will go on this journey to see us evolve, but also this thing evolve into bringing more and more value to people with regards to gratuity awareness, service industry, and people making money outside of the norm. Podcast went well, I think.
For our first one?
Yeah,
for
Richie.
Our first interview, I think it went very well.
First one, we wanted to go non-caddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to, like we said, the show is not, hopefully we'll get some people that want to come on outside of the golf realm, but this is a good friend of mine, kind-hearted person. We've been through a lot together. I've known him for a better part, more than a decade, and then you met him a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to hear you guys' story, your come-up story together. That was awesome.
Yeah, there's so much more to it, too, but, Dougie and I talked about how, we don't want to make it so much about us and interview other people, so we'll try to focus on that and get better at that little by little. But, yeah, it's a good friend, long friend of mine, long-time friend of mine. You'll hear the intro on the actual show. He talks about, we ask him some questions. He talks about his day-to-day life and, how what role gratuity plays in his current career, right, or gig.
No, and he did well. I mean, I knew Rich was going to come on and kill it. He's just a funny guy in general, but, he also had some solid points about, rideshare etiquette and, do's and don'ts in there, and just overall, like, what tipping and gratuity means to drivers out there. So it's a cool perspective to have.
Yeah, and I think it's nice to have, be on the same page. Both of these guests so far, the way we kind of pitched them coming on is, to bring value, right? The point of what we're doing, we're not, maybe this isn't something that needs to be said, but we're not trying to get people on here to make it about them, or we want to be on camera, or we want to dance around.
Off the jump. This is about our experiences, how, and it's a subject that doesn't get talked about enough, and we saw an opening to talk about it. And
I don't know. Do you know any podcasts that discuss gratuity, tipping, or etiquette of it?
I know none, but I heard part of my take talking about tipping, and I was like, oh man, literally the last episode they were talking about how Hank didn't know if he should tip at a Starbucks or Uber, or no, a Starbucks or a Five Guys, and Big Cat was like, I just tip 15. He said this. Big Cat said this. I tip 15% everywhere. He goes, you want to know why? Couple bucks here and there, couple bucks here and there. What's that matter to you? You know what I mean? And he was like, but you do that enough times, it probably means a lot to those workers.
Yeah, and I think that's become more of a norm where, to me, I'm still trying to get used to, and I'm not going to go too much into my opinion, but I think certain places would you tip at a CVS? Probably not. So I'm not sure.
They brought that up because they got in trouble for doing that. So CVS pledged $15 million or some number like that. But they were getting the donations from people giving the donations. So it wasn't.
Is this true?
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about donations. I'm not I don't know. Maybe I'm that guy. Maybe I shouldn't be that guy. But I don't know where those donations go. So I always say no. I just don't know where it goes.
That's what Hank's point was.
I don't know where it goes.
So.
But yeah. So Rich came on.
Great
Richard
show.
Richard and Rich. Rich came on. He talked about his driving experience. He talked about gratuity, and I think he had a. We talked about caddying a little bit to get his opinion.
Oh, yeah,
Outsider's
definitely.
opinion. That's what we want to do. Like people also that don't know
Who
anything
aren't in
about the
golf
caddy
industry,
realm.
that come to a golf course. What would you tip a caddy? And he gave some really good answers to it.
Like what I got out of it is, despite the fact that this isn't somebody who knows much about caddy programs or that level of golf, where it's not a Muni course, where it's but he made some good like common sense points and how he'd go about.
Yeah,
gratuity.
a very logical way of doing things.
Yeah,
but yeah, Richie was great. And then, let's just go over to our next guest, our fellow coworker and our good friend now, Richard.
He's a fellow caddy, yeah. Richie, they're both names are Richard, but this is, I met him maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe a little less.
Yeah,
and
I met him last year.
Back then when I met him, I would have never, first of all, we didn't have this in the books, but I would have never known a way to approach to bring him on.
No.
Nonetheless, him being the first ever caddy on the podcast.
When I first met the guy, I never thought he'd be someone I'd be like, yeah, that's like my really good buddy. You know what I mean? That's like my friend. That's someone I talk to about like cool stuff. Like he did a full 180 in my book, and yeah, it probably was my perception of him.
It was. So was mine.
But dude, once you peel back the layers of this guy, once you kind of get him comfortable, he just starts going. He has this awesome personality. He's funny. He's witty. He's intelligent. Like, he was a great guest to have on as our first caddy guest, really.
Agreed. To add to that, man, I had something really good to say and I forgot. But anyways, yeah. When I met him, I didn't think, and I met him like post-pandemic, so that was a time when people weren't spending too much time around each other, so there wasn't a lot of conversations. And sometimes maybe I don't come across like the most approachable guy, and that's what I thought a little bit of him. But then now it's like he's an individual that I can have like very serious conversations with.
Absolutely.
Some dry humor, some fun stuff.
He's got the best.
Like
humor.
a caring guy. If you become friends with him, like he's a good, caring guy who, like I said, I have a tremendous amount of respect for. He's lived a life. He's done this on and off, and he's had his other career.
He's got great perspective.
He just gives like some good advice, man. And people will see this. People will see this. It kind of it takes a little bit for that show to warm up.
It does, and that kind of like shows our relationship, how it started, Richie. It takes a little bit to warm up, but the second you get to part 2 and part 3, you really start to see his personality shine, and you see the stories, and you see us making him laugh and him making us laugh. It's a really great interview. I hope you guys like it, and I know you will. And can you imagine if Richie gets famous? That'd be so. Richard gets famous. Dude.
Yeah, and I think part of the warm up also is that this is new to us, just as much as it is to him. So I don't know how to. I'm not going in here having a complete plan of how to approach people.
I know.
With our friend Richard, it's like we kick it all the time. So it's kind of like, let's see what happens. But fellow caddy Richard, it was all of us just took a little while to warm up, and I don't think wisdom in a sense of that he's trying to teach people, like straight teach people something, but he just gives good advice on the etiquette.
Kept it very general.
And then he gives some good advice for the youth out there that are maybe looking to get into this or doing this. And the discipline, at the end of the day, like having financial discipline sets you up for whatever goals you want to have in life, big or small, but just stability.
Absolutely.
And he gives some good advice on that. So
and make sure you stick around for part 3 of that interview, because there are 2 surprise questions at the end.
You stick around for surprise questions. Richard was not ready for those.
No, we're doing that every episode.
Funny,
we're
man.
doing that every episode. Surprise questions for every guest. We usually give out, what we're going to ask so we can debate, talk about what we're going to talk about so things run smoothly. But I came up with the idea of, why don't we do some surprise questions, really throw people off a little bit, just for 2 questions. And then it went well.
It did go well. Yeah, it did go. He took it well. He was a good sport. He took it well.
Yeah.
And I think one last thing I have to say is, for whoever's watching out there, I feel like we should say this, like or dislike, subscribe or don't subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. I think we're not doing this from a perspective of like we know everything. This is very new to us, so anybody wants to leave a comment on like maybe we should. Not saying we're always gonna listen. I'm not gonna shut it down.
Comment, subscribe. Please help us grow. And if you're out there, you're a caddy, bartender, server, and you like what we're doing and you want to come on the show, reach out. We'll definitely have you on. We'll find a way to Zoom it, like we said. And if you're around the Miami area, we'll come by.
Yeah, either Zoom it or if you can stop by, more than happy to do that. But more so, if you want to, like, there's any topics that anyone thinks are a good topic, who's in the industry or outside of the industry, any questions, leave that in the comments. The do's and the don'ts and what people are interested in. Ultimately, it's not about us. Ultimately, it's about us shedding the light on gratuity, service industry, tipping. But, like, the only way we can shed the light is if we know what people want to know and what people have opinions about. So that's it. That's all I got to say about these 2 upcoming episodes.
They were great. I hope you guys like them. It's going to be a really fun couple episodes for you guys listening. And I guess the last thing that we want to do, because we said it on the first show, we're going to do a little bit of gambling picks here. Con doesn't gamble, but that's all right. I have 3 picks for the first tournament of the year, the Century Tournament of Champions. And these are all firing from the hip. I do not take any logic into these picks. They're all eyeball tests. They're nothing. There's no background. I don't have any inside knowledge. These are my 3 picks. Bet them if you want. I think they're going to hit. First one, JT, plus 1,000. Played great against Tiger and Rory. That's the only thing I'm basing it off of. Any comments?
Justin Thomas? Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I mean, the only comment I have is I've seen him in the field at the top for a while now. So
smart bet. That's a smart bet.
There you go.
Next up, Victor Hovland. Don't know why. Guy it just looked like a sexy little pick. I wanted to get in there. Plus 1,800. Can't go wrong with him. Seemed like he was getting hot at the end of the year. And the third pick, Sam Burns. I feel like he won a couple tournaments last year. I think he did, if my memory serves me correctly. I think he's going to come out guns blazing. And now, Con, I want you to make a pick.
No offense to Sam Burns, but never heard of him. But, probably on me. Victor Hovland? Yeah, Victor Hovland.
I think that's going to be a good one.
That could be an outlier, too.
And now for our segment that we like to call Con Picks a Name Out of a Hat.
Yeah, that's how I gamble. And I don't even have any money on it. This is just
So we have
draw
the entire field in here.
Well, jeez.
I'm shaking them up.
You had him up there in the hat the whole time.
The whole time.
What a surprise.
All right.
Let me see.
Who do we got? Who are you picking?
I got one here. I'm going to read it off. Ready?
Can you read my hand?
Okay. Max Homa.
Oh, no. The kid. The boy.
I like that it wasn't like
Dude.
because I see an Adam Scott chill in there. I almost grabbed him, but I like Max Homa. So that's the
Con's pick of the week. All right. So we got JT, Victor, Burns, and Max Homa for our first 4 picks. I'm just going to sprinkle a little,
we having technical difficulties? Something fall off?
Yeah, we're down.
All right.
This is a show, dude.
Guys, someday we'll invest in better equipment.
But for now, thank you guys for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys like the interview. Thank you guys for listening to us.
Yeah, that's it. Enjoy the show. Hopefully you do.
And don't forget, tip your caddy.
Tip your people.
There we go.